That's why the American Rescue Plan that you all provided $350 billion that cities, states, and counties can use to hire more police, invest in more proven strategies. Proven strategies like community violence interruption, trusted messengers, breaking the cycle of violence and trauma, and giving young people some hope. We should all agree the answer is not to defund the police. It's to fund the police. Fund them. Fund them. Fund them with resources and training. Resources and training they need to protect our communities.
So there's Joe Biden speaking last night at his State of the Union address, and it got a bit of a standing applause when he did mention that he wants to fund the police, not defund the police. Even guys like Kevin McCarthy and Steve Scalise rose to their feet and gave some applause for that line. Now, not in every circle it wasn't accepted so well. I mean, there were some people who thought this was a very irresponsible thing for him to say. Others thought it was just annoying and a bit of disingenuous. Let's go to some of those responses, because first to start from the left. Cori Bush then tweeted after this all went down. With all due respect, Mr. President, you didn't mention saving Black lives once in this speech. All our country has done is given more funding to police. The result, 2021 set a record for fatal police shootings. Defund the police, invest in our communities. So before we get to some of the Republican or a few conservative responses there, first, I wanna see where you land on this line and whether or not this was something he needed to say or did much for him.
Oh, I don't think it did much for him. If anything, it sounded tone deaf. The fact is, as Cori Bush has observed, we have seen an escalating number of police fatal shootings. Also, too, protect our communities from what? From people not having enough money to buy formula for their babies, for people not having enough money or engaging in theft in some way because they need to clothe themselves because we are not providing them with adequate housing. We could be proactive by investing in our communities, investing in education, or we can be reactive by investing in policing. And just the thought that they don't have enough resources, get out of here. We have a militarized police system throughout the nation. I think they got enough resources.
Well, and also every time that these things get discussed, we talked before about how Senator Scott and Booker were trying to do something as far as limiting the amount of things police did. The goalpost tends to change once the pressure comes on to actually do something. It's good to talk about it, but then will they do something? And I guess that's maybe where some conservatives come in, because they do think he has done something and that he will continue to. So this is where the disingenuous pushback did come from. Let's check out this tweet. It's from Harmeet Dillon. She said, why are Republicans standing up and clapping like seals to Biden's lies about funding the police and securing the border? She's very upset about that. Also, Clay Travis, he had some criticism, but there's some fun twists around his back and forth here. So first, last night after that line, he said, Joe Biden just said the answer isn't to defund the police, it's to fund the police. But his party spent the past 2 years arguing to defund the police. Welcome to the party, pal. Which would probably lead you to believe that Joe Biden has always been on the defund the police train, and he's finally joined the party. Well, there's this other guy who has the same Twitter account that Clay Travis has, and back in September of 2020, he tweeted this. One moment of positivity, Joe Biden said he doesn't support defunding the police. Almost no one supports this idea anywhere in America. So can we finally stop discussing this as any sort of serious public policy idea? We need more police, not less. Now that was pointed out by another Twitter user who's pointed out he's back and forth on this. So last night it's Biden just came to the party on this, which I don't want to be at that party, but apparently he was at that party in September of 2020. So whichever way the wind blows, let's just criticize this guy based off of that. Now, as you already pointed out, Adrian, there is the criticism for his line already there, but it's also not even the first time he's done this. There was a warm up for this line in February, early February. Let's watch this.
Mayor Adams, you and I agree. The answer is not to abandon our streets. That's not the answer. The answer is to come together. Police and communities, building trust and making us all safer. The answer is not to defund the police. It's to give you the tools, the training, the funding to be partners, to be protectors, and community needs you.
I will admit, that first time he didn't punch it as well as he did at the State of the Union. It was kind of like a practice run. It was like The job is not defund the police. Like, it's a line, just say it, bro. We know what it is. Jesus.
Yeah, it's so disappointing. It is incredibly disappointing. I just hate how our answer is always something involving this military type response as opposed to doing something proactive and preventing the issue altogether. It just,
I don't know. I'm not sure what good it does also for some of these conservatives to say, hey, because there's another one who also pointed out that he said he's all on board for defunding the police. Then he's back to funding. He's been everywhere on this, and which leads me to believe he's kind of going to go nowhere on this. It's whatever works in that particular moment. He got a standing ovation from largely the Republican side of the aisle, so maybe that was the objective there. Because then maybe next week he'll go back to saying we need to reallocate funds because they keep killing people indiscriminately and using recommissioned army machinery to do so. So we'll see where he lands, but so far I haven't seen much policy. That's what we should be paying attention to, not these lines.